Here we go. We are now live. It's taking this button keeps jumping around on me. So today is our first opportunity to do our Space Coast Spotlight, and we actually are spotlighting somebody, and it's going to be it's going to be me too, since it's a Phototropics. But we also have my partner here. We work together, the drone dudes. I don't know what you got. You got your phone on? Do you have your phone on?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, yeah. If you kind of switch that off, all excited. So, Chuck, would you like to introduce yourself, what you do, and then we will just banter back and forth on some questions because that's what we typically do throughout the day, anyhow. So, we just wanted to kind of get ourselves out there. So,
Uh, Handyman, there it is. Where it is? There
there
it
you
is.
go.
There it is.
Okay.
Handyman.
Uh huh.
Local handyman in Melbourne, Florida. And oh, what a handyman is allowed to do.
Right.
There's a lot of restrictions on handymen that can't be done because of the hurricanes that you have to be licensed for. But there's a lot that the contractors don't like to do. And so all that little things, changing a garbage disposal or fixing a
Little
door,
stuff.
lock
Yeah.
set, something like that. So
Yeah.
uh, stay busy doing
So,
that.
so how long you been doing that?
8 years, I
8 years.
guess. Independently, I was working for a uh, not a nursing home. What do you call it, Dave?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's a living facility for 8 years. Got out of that and got into doing this because I was maintenance for that building, and therefore
Right. But
we
that wasn't your only time that you were doing that, right? You were also doing some early on whenever we were first together, first met, you were working for another company down here with the boats and stuff.
on Merritt Island worked with Sea Ray Boats for like you know
Okay.
10 years or whatever,
And
uh,
you
so to
you
speak.
were
For that, get out of that. So well rounded with wood building, you know,
mhm,
carpentry and things like that. But I am interested in the photography that
right.
you're interested in, and we worked together a
Right.
long, long time ago.
Yeah, I think what was you shooting whenever we first started photographing down now again, this is back in the good old days. I say good old days because you know film it's so funny because well, we talk about photography and I think yours and my mentality are about the same because we come from the analog version, that is to say the film days. And I'm not saying it's better, I'm just saying that's what you get used to, and the people have made good transitions. I mean, digital cameras have been around a while, but what were you shooting whenever we first were you know
And
going out photographing together?
it was film.
Yeah.
It was a little more harder than digital. Well, now with digital, it's a little harder for me as I got older. This is Dave is before, and this is after the younger years and the older years.
But what was your camera? What camera did you have when you were shooting? Did you say you still have that camera?
A Rico, Rico,
Rico.
Rico can.
Rico, man. Do they even make those anymore?
Oh, it was one of those ones, those little cardboard ones that you put,
It's like you got to stand behind the thing and poof, everybody stands still for 5 minutes.
really
No, no,
pull a plate
no.
out. No, not that old.
I did not that old. Gotcha. No, and I think at the time I had a borrowed Canon 8E1, and I was a friend of mine that I use. You know how it is, and this is something that maybe you and I can address in some later YouTube videos about. And actually, that's actually the theme of one of the videos that we're going to be producing. Is I'm sick of photography because what happens? A lot of people invest some money. I'm going to be a photographer, and more modern times we're like we're going to make some money from it. People talk about making money, and some people can make some side money, side hustle money,
Right.
but can you make enough money to support the habit, so to speak. But what'll happen is somebody will invest into a camera. They'll get a pretty good camera, maybe not ever a pro camera, but one that's, a high consumer model. And then they realize that it takes time, just like playing the guitar, golf, and you got to make time for it. But,
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, now we're into phones, iPhones and all the little cameras that are on it, and you can aim that and take a picture and capture some beautiful pictures. And we got a friend that walks the bridge in Melbourne. She walks every morning. She comes back. She takes these beautiful sunrises, and I would have thought she set up a tripod and took a picture, but
right.
so photography, cameras are small cameras, in your room, your house, they're just getting so advanced. But,
As a matter of fact, it just so happens a mutual friend of ours, he has me working with him doing reviews, and here's one of the cameras that this is one of the security cameras we're doing. So yeah, they're small, like you say. But what draws you to photography at all? I mean, what
Well, in the beginning, back when you were knee high to a grasshopper, and I was knowing you, and we were getting going when you got as a teenager. It was the fact that I wanted to capture what the eye sees, just the way I see it, and nothing can actually do that. It's very hard I think, to get a camera to do it. And if you do, you're a very good photographer.
Right.
So I found that out through hundreds of pictures you just throw away. Of course, back then you developed them, and it was like,
Well, it was a deal whenever it's like you could get it done in an hour, right? And you get the because if before you had to send it off, and then it was a week, and it looked, because it was done at the pharmacy, usually at a like a Eckerd's or whatever, if you know what an Eckerd's is, Walgreens. You go in there, and it looks like they do whenever you go into Publix for the pharmacy. It's like it's like little bins and stuff. So we did that. I think we also did just some random shots. You actually took my wedding. You took my wedding photos. So I know that you also. Christy just reminds me of other stuff that
you couldn't find anybody, so.
I couldn't find anybody. I don't think that was true. I think I thought that was the way it should be.
I appreciated it. It was a pleasure, and I was proud to do it. Yeah. Glad to do it.
That was cool. So, but I do want to introduce. If you haven't, most people would know that I do Phototropics, and we're going to be doing our wedding stuff under Phototropics until things blow up. One way or another, blow up in a good way or blow up in a bad way. So that's what we are going to be doing and pursuing that. I have I'm going to call it a destination wedding coming up at the end of this month. I get to go back home, so to speak, and a friend of ours is getting married. She's been interviewed on our show here before. Right.
That's right.
Good. Just, that's where we get started, and got some other things coming up. Again, most of my work is like your work in the fact that it has been, on film, and most of my digital stuff has mostly been real estate photography. And you're into drones and stuff too. I mean, we both do drones. I think the way that we look at drones is a little bit different. I look at drone as another camera in my bag, and to just like I would a tripod. I put a camera on a tripod. I put it up where I can see better, and I have my
get up there now.
And then a drone will take me much further, and it does both video and photography.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Just happen to have one.
Yeah. Just of course, because you're a licensed pilot there, so.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yes. Like a license.
There you go. Make sure you scratch out the name.
Yeah, you got that. Well, it was blurry there, so no one.
Yeah. So, but how do you view drones all to, you have an interest in photography, but is it, when you think about drones, is it just drones that's the main thing, or how do you view it as opposed to the way I view it? Because I know it's a little bit of a difference of opinion.
One of the difference for me is that I've always wanted to fly, literally fly a plane. My dad always came down from when he was alive, came down to Melbourne, and I'd take him to the airport, and we'd rent a plane, and I'd take him up, and I'd shoot pictures, aerial shots. And while he had the thrill of flying, so with the drone, I kind of feel I'm up there and get that bird's eye view of down below, which everything has been on the ground, and what's in front of you or out there in the field or whatever, or a building. But looking down is totally different, and that's exciting. Not only just flying, but you've got controls, and you've got I never played games when I was a kid, okay, video games, but now I got to do it. So it's different, but it's not as strenuous as getting on my hands and knees and laying tile. So
So nice drone there, Chuck. So Miss Pam has a comment about your drone. So um, women like a nice car or a nice drone, evidently. So.
I don't know if I've got any work that way yet, but
Yeah, hey,
maybe.
but you're also, you work with drone base, right? You do some drone based stuff. So,
Right.
but like what we're saying though is that even though you have an affinity for flying, do you tend to track toward the drone more, or just is photography just an open field for you, or what? How do you approach the drone field?
It's building. I think the more I fly and the more I video, and and also there's the editing. Drone base, does it most of the time, but when independently, you sometimes on jobs have to edit, and like this show, which probably a lot of this will get edited out, but
Nope. I'm lazy. You get what you get on this one. So
all right.
it can be edited, but it takes like it's almost like 24 hours for it to download and to take an hour's worth of stuff here and clip it out. It's, I think if nothing else, people like to listen to it in the background.
The whole drone thing is just exciting to get up the ground and get over there and fly around and see what's down below. And it's a little nerve-wracking going over the water, hoping you don't lose it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Cece was like that. She was like, I don't want you flying it over the water because we haven't got insurance on it yet. And I was like, I've got my first few jobs and they were Daytona Beach. So I was flying around. They were on the beach. I had to fly out over the beach to get a shot back on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
that made me nervous when I did that. That shot we did at the park and at the boat ramp, I was like, I'm looking down with the camera and I'm a long ways down.
Well, I feel better over the water than I would like in the trees, because I feel like there's nothing. It's the only thing is I got to worry about is the battery popping out, and it's not going to do that. If it does, then it's going to do that no matter where. But I just feel a little bit more comfortable because there's usually nothing out there. One day I'm going to be flying over the water, Indian River, and I'm going to hit a sailboat or something. I'm gonna hopefully I can recover that video. At least I can post it and maybe make some money back on crashing my drone. Horrendous drone crashes and stuff.
Yeah, they're out there.
But yeah, good stuff. So you as far as we had a couple questions for you as well, because you were going to kind of we could bounce some things off of each other, because you are going to use your knowledge a little bit in possibly going down the road of teaching online with some video content, right? I think you said you were going to do that.
Just things in the making.
Uh-huh.
We'll see. You know, I I think it. I think I can't maybe go wrong at my age to try something else. I mean, teach. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I'm learning.
Well, who's a dog here,
I'm proving them wrong.
Yeah.
I hope.
So, yeah. So, as far as what I do is photography, when you're talking about what you're going to do, you probably, you're familiar with the YouTube stuff I do,
Yeah.
but also for local business. And that's kind of the whole purpose of this little broadcast is kind of bridge building for communities because you don't necessarily always need a photographer. Sometimes people, oh, well, I got enough photography right here. I can do. Yeah, people can take pictures and stuff like that. But to provide something to a business that they can use either in their social media, their website, things like that. To me, again, here I'm going to confess, I used to be an IRS agent, revenue officer, and so there were people who were great at what they did. They were awesome, like you say, a carpenter or a boat builder or even a motorcycle mechanic. They were excellent at that, but they were terrible at business. And so, it's just that wasn't their thing. And, some people know enough to get somebody else to help them with that. I don't know. You have somebody kind of helping you with yours, right? You have an in-house accountant, right?
I have an accountant, secretary, bookkeeper, uh, waitress,
Oh,
all hats, does all kinds of things. Very supportive wife that will support me in what I do, and I'm hoping she continues with this new career.
yeah. I think she's pretty. I mean, she likes your drone anyway.
Yeah, she approved of it.
Yeah, that approval process sometimes. I could probably get something through the government quicker than I could get it through my own family approval process. It's like,
Yep.
no.
I sent some things to the finance department. It comes back stamped no.
There
But
you go. Not I don't think I don't think Apple has a possibly later once you take the garbage out kind of thing on their invoice, their approval process.
Yeah.
But that is important. I think in any business you need not just support from your own household, but as businesses locally. And I think it's a little bit harder because living in New York, living in California, you've seen a little bit more openness to, I would say, take a chance on other small businesses.
Mhm.
Whereas I think Florida has that stigma of being taken advantage of. A lot of long timers, retirees, they're used to not being able to trust people because people will take advantage of them. Have you noticed that?
Well, for me, in the 30 years I've been in Florida, with the hurricanes, which we just brushed through one, the codes got tighter. It's understandable why. The restrictions got tighter. What you can do, and what you can't do, and the fact that because of all that, uh, people are a little afraid because a lot of people were being taken advantage of, the older ones or whatever. Price of plywood and this and that had to go up twice, and you couldn't get it, and just a markup, and everybody, and let's face it, nowadays there's scams all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got a call the other day, hi, we're Spectrum, and they weren't.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful. So
Yeah.
people are nowadays just leery about the honesty, and in this day and age. So
right, and I think too, Florida is unique in the fact that I call it transient in the fact is that some people are here during the winter because we're going to start getting our snowbirds if we haven't already started getting them, and then they go back. So they come back, and there's a lot of people who move to Florida from other places, and so there's not an investment necessarily directly in the community. I mean, you probably remember this. You remember whenever you'd say, "Who's from Florida?" and it'd be like nobody say me. And there was no natives of
Right.
Florida, with the exception of Native Americans, and they
Well,
weren't.
melt, they
Yeah.
melt off. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember they used to have those tags that had native on it, and it was like a badge of honor
Yeah.
that
Well,
they say that they were natives?
my
What's
daughter
that?
is. My daughter
Yeah.
is. She bought here. Yeah, I bought her the other day. Yeah,
Yeah.
was born here. So you will edit that, right?
Nope. I'll stay in there. You got to be perfect for this one. No. But yeah, but it's rare. It was rare. Now you're seeing it more and more, people saying, yeah, I was born here, I was born, which is nice. So I think that changes the mentality of our area, especially Space Coast, because we do have contractors. You're affected by that, your family.
Yep.
And I think Brevard, whenever it's funny because whenever I go other places and they say, do you mind being a contractor? And I was like, yeah, or 1099. You're like, yeah. See, they will tell it by 1099, helping people because people don't recognize what. But yeah, I'm a contractor. I'm used to it. I live next to Lockheed Martin or whatever company is now building the space shuttle for the cheapest price. But yeah, this is true. It's like you can tell when fall is here in Florida when colors on the car tags start to change. Usually, one friend of mine used to say that when you start seeing the blue tags, because most of them are blue, with the exception, well, even New York, even though it has yellow on it, has a blue stripe, I think, in certain aspects.
No,
So,
it's
yeah.
interesting. Something to do when you drive down 95 heading somewhere. You look at all the license plate.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the road. But I mean,
Well, just if you're new to the area, just let you know if you see if there's a foreign tag on, I say a foreign tag on your car, you are more likely to get pulled over because they look for you not to come to court. I've had friends, they were coming from Maine. Do you know anything about Maine, Chuck?
a little bit.
A little bit from Maine.
Why do that?
No, yeah, no, because no, because these friends of ours were coming from Maine. One of them had a Florida tag, one had the Maine tag because they were moving, and they were both going the same speed. They pulled over the person from Maine. Well, I mean, I know why they pull over a person from Maine, but it's a lot easier to deal with people who are out of state because they're less likely to fight it. But that's what I've heard. I'm not trying to disrespect any of our law enforcement, but I'm just saying that's what happens.
Or maniacs. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, was it?
Or Maine.
Yeah. No, I got you. No, I was missing. Yeah, that's true.
And down here 30. Wait a minute, it should come up on the screen. Right down here 35 years or so, or 38 years.
38.
No, yeah.
What's that? 38 years? What? Down here.
And here, yeah.
Oh,
So from Maine.
no.
So it's longer than I've been in Maine.
Yeah.
Born and raised, yeah.
Yeah, you could. Well, you're always a Mainer, right? I've heard that you could be born of parents who are Maine, and you just get born this side of the Maine state line, and you live your entire life in Maine. But if you are born in Maine and the day you get born, you live in Hawaii forever, you're always a Mainer. Whereas the first person, nope, they don't count. They're not real. They're not real Mainer. That's what I've heard. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we are going to be going into is supporting local businesses, small businesses, with product photography as well. Now, the reason why I say that, like I said, people typically have their own phones and they could post it. But if you let a business owner do their job, they're going to be effective at that. Mm-hmm. And you have somebody come in and do some photos for your website or your Instagram or whatever, and you give that to somebody who does it on the regular, you realize, that's what we want to do. We want to support our fellow small businesses that way.
Sure.
So that's another thing. And I don't know if you know this, but we have our $99 special just for the month. And that's 30 postable pics for $99.
Okay.
That's just this month. And so, if somebody's looking to have their social media account bumped up. We could be, Instagram, Facebook, or anything. So
I'll have to sign up.
oh, you're supposed to be going with me.
Oh,
And
yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
I started doing stuff like that when I was little, when I was first into photography.
Yeah.
Is a friend of ours, you know him, Al. He's a painter. He's an artist himself.
He's great painter. Been on
Yeah,
John Harrison.
yeah. He's like one of the fastest painters in New York at the time, right?
Yep. Yep.
And he also does masonry work with stucco and stuff like that. So I went through. He took me around town, and we took pictures of a lot of his stuff, so that he could build his portfolio. So if you are a non-photography or photogenic or photo inclined person that wants to produce a portfolio for your work, and post that online, high quality photos, we can do that for
And we
you.
don't have a number to call.
Yeah, well, Phototropix right there.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So, yeah, it's streaming across. It's like the ticker,
Yeah.
local photographer lands $1 million job. That's what's going across the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's go ahead.
I hope to be there.
Yeah, yeah, it's all your fault. And so we have product photography, we have real estate photography, and then a third one is what we're delving into now is wedding photography. Now, you've done more than one. I mean, I've done more than one wedding as well, but you've done a few, right?
In the day.
Yeah. So you did mine, and do we know the other person? Do I know the other person that you've done?
Boy, I'd have to. You should have asked me that earlier, so I could have wrote that down. But,
what did you think you were going to be doing this evening? No, I'm just kidding. What kind of other plans did you have? No,
just improv. Improv.
Yeah, it is. It's because it's more lively that way. So I just, so you've done some analog weddings. I call them analog weddings because they are, film. Is what I feel. I mean, so let me see here. How have you seen photography change, not just in the technical aspect of it, but in the aspect of, the use of photography? I mean, because you and I both remember seeing newspapers.
Yeah.
So what do you see as far as the use of photography or just photography in general? How has it changed that you've noticed, or has it changed for you?
No, the advertising aspect of photography has been used all over. I mean, it's food, photography. There's so many avenues in it that I was kind of with the Ansel Adams, get a great black and white picture of nature. But there's car shows, all kind of things, and all kind of companies, and everybody, can use it in their business. So it is beneficial if you, even though you have a camera, on your phone. That's just a quick snapshot of something, but to get a layout from a photographer that's going to capture your business and so that you can promote it, it's beneficial.
Yeah. And I just see that back in the day, a photographer was a professional. Mm-hmm. It's like you went to a doctor, you went to a cake decorator person, and then a photographer. Everybody had the Olin Mills or Brian Allen. Everybody knew that place because that was the only place you had a professional picture made. Now there was Polaroids. There were people who had to. I remember. I think I even took a picture with one of those that had a cube on the top. Every time you took a shot.
Yeah. Burnout. Yeah. Those days.
I think here's another one about the drone work for the roofs. Yeah, we do that. I've done a few of those, and especially, I don't know. Did you see the post on Facebook?
No.
That I have? It's you and me. It's when we were doing that video last time,
Oh,
and we did that flight over there
yeah.
in Melbourne. And so if you haven't seen it, tell you need to go on Facebook once in a while and see it. But you're on there, so
Yeah.
put it on. Oh, you saw it. You remember it. But yeah, that's something that's changed. Is that back in the day you had to crawl up on the roof, and you could take a picture once you got up there, but you had to be up there.
They came to inspect my roof, and I asked him, the inspector, I said, why don't you use a drone? You don't have to get the ladder out, get up on the roof. He said, on a single-story home, I can get the ladder out, climb up there, and just take some pictures real quick. 2-story houses, 3-story, things like that. That's where the drone comes into play, and towers and corporate buildings.
Mhm.
That's where the drones are needed, and it goes into thermal imaging and all kind of aspects of drone work, and it's growing leaps and bounds. It's like, it's just like when the cell phone came out, and all of a sudden then it was boom, boom, boom. Every year it was a new phone and new gadgets, and drone is just taking off, and the uses of them. And I think it's exciting, and I want to be more part of it in my later years here. Even
Hey, you're only as old as you think you are. But what I'm kind of part of this is the fact that I don't. Did your inspector? Was he actually Did he have a license to fly?
to fly, no.
Yeah.
He said he wouldn't get into it because of the cost, the training, and all the aspects. He said, I can just get up on a roof and do it. I'm not going to, he doesn't do 2 stories, I guess, or I don't know what he just takes single homes. I don't know.
See, I'm not downing him, and I totally get it. Is that if you're used to something. Now, to me, as a drone, it sounded like he was just like, I don't need it. So, that was his excuse. But to me, if you have a workflow, even if you have 1-story built homes, if you have a workflow and you do this every time, you don't have to carry a ladder. So you don't have to worry about getting it down. You always do something. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Like whenever you're doing trim in a house, you don't just do the section and bevel it, and then you go over here. You kind of do all your cuts or whatever, don't you? You kind of have a workflow that you're working at. So I think, to me, that was a little bit more efficient because, you may not see everything and stuff. So that's me.
He could have got one and would have benefited him.
Right.
But like you say, he was been doing it for years and keep doing it.
That's the same thing whenever I got into drafting. There were guys who could manually draft quicker than people could do in AutoCAD.
It could, yeah.
The only difference was whenever a change came, it was totally different. You could change stuff like that in AutoCAD, whereas you had to erase it or redraw the whole thing and stuff like that. So but
it's true.
But I mean, in part of that we see photography change in the form of it's not like a photo. You knew a photojournalist. People could make their name in a photojournalist. Like say Ansel Adams, he does landscapes. And then you had the local, mugshot photographer I'm talking about, the family mugshot, you had those guys. And, a boudoir photographer, he's like, he's probably on the other side of town, basement apartment. I mean, but now, like you say, there are people who exclusively do automobiles or people who exclusively do food. I'm sure back in the day, you could get one of those other photographers and they would cross their disciplines.
Yeah.
Now everything's so specialized that I think to me, I think that's how it's changed. Everybody's a photojournalist if they got their YouTube running.
Yeah, the weddings are they're gonna. I think drones going to pick up. Couples are excited about getting an aerial view or a flyby shot or close up from a drone hovering there, and there's going to be a lot more of that. So those individuals that set up, everything, wedding arrangers.
Mhm.
They're going
Wedding
to
planner? You mean like a wedding planner? Okay.
they're gonna look for drone people,
Yeah.
you know, put on the list.
Drone people. You're like at a beehive. Drone people. We are drones. Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna
you
go
know,
ahead and do it. But yeah, no, I do think it's becoming the norm rather than the exception. And that's another thing that, as a drone photographer, I say drone photographer, there is a concern about the new regulations, right?
right, right. Um,
Yeah. What did you, because you seem to be worried about it. I don't care. Because And let me tell you, this is why I don't care, is because as a photographer, that's one of the things I learned. You have to get up as close as you can to the stage to be able to get the picture of the musician or the speaker. To be in you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, and sometimes a dangerous situation, because you've seen some of the beautiful photography that they'll take it from a bridge. I mean, one woman died because she was taking a picture on a bridge and she didn't have a good sense to watch her back. But to me, photographers have always been in danger and they've put themselves in that. And I
yeah,
know that there's a lot of drone pilots that are like, well, they know where I'm at, and they, hey, to me, that doesn't, photographers are always in danger.
yeah. There are regulations about being over parties and groups and all, but I I think as time goes on, I will be a little maverick,
Mm-hmm.
more maverick. There'll be those shots that you create in your mind, and you go, if I could just zoom in under and over here and get a shot of them.
Well, I mean, like the IR, the remote ID is the
Oh,
thing that people are
that's
complaining.
right. That's going to be a long time still coming, and they're still worried about finding you, or you've got because you're the regulation where you got to have your drone
Mm-hmm.
ID on it, and the manufacturers have to from now on have to have an ID in there. That's all going to be worked out, and it's still going to be go. They're finding ways around it. Drone pilots, the weightier your drone, the less doesn't have to have it. Less weight.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm saying though, is that some people are complaining about it, making a big deal. But to me, a photographer has always put himself in a position where he is seen by others and put himself in a vulnerable
yeah,
position. So,
yeah. I
but that's
mean,
just me.
there are regulations, but
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Right. I think whenever you and we always work, we normally have the high vis vest on, so people know we're not out there fooling around. I mean, well, they don't think we're fooling around because we usually are fooling around, goofing off, and stuff like that. But it gives the appearance of working. And it's a friend of mine. Now this is a funny story. He said, "Hey, let's go up to this hotel and get breakfast." I'm like, "Okay." So we go in, and it's the continental breakfast, with the eggs and all that stuff. He says, "Come on, let's go." So we go in there and get breakfast, and I'm like, "What? Wait, we shouldn't be doing this. We didn't even stay at this hotel." He's like, "You just got to act like you own it." You got to own it. And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of true, but." Um, I think that's the same thing with drones and photography or anything. Because if you start looking shifty, I mean, how many times have you ever been into a supermarket or anywhere and somebody's kind of looking shifty? I mean, and they're supposed to be there and there's nothing wrong, but you catch that in them, right?
photography wise, that's the interesting thing, trying to capture a feeling or an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a real big challenge, and if you're a good photographer, you can do that. And I think that's the part you're creative on. And you've done some great shots of the shuttle going up. Not the shuttle, the new rock. Now shuttle's gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
always everything's the shuttle. It's like everybody in the South. Oh, it's Coke. Oh, it's Pepsi. No, it's Coke.
It's age that does that.
No,
You'll
Christy
see.
still
You'll be down the road going, Chuck, do this.
no, we still call it the shuttle. It's just it's like Kleenex, this it's become a name. So,
Yeah, but you got some good launches.
yeah.
Good pictures.
Well, and it's something I enjoy is the challenge a little bit. Yeah, because that's why that's why golf players play golf. That's why people play the guitar because they want a challenge. I mean, we'd all like to be able to pick something up and just do it, but
Yeah.
the point is, photography is a constant challenge to me. That's why I like it because it is so versatile. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
anyway,
Yep.
so again, of all the photography that you've done, what has been your most enjoyable, memorable photographic moments? I mean, did you ever print any of your photos so that you kept them? Because I know whenever I have my stuff, I'm like, I don't want it in the house sometimes.
They're in a big box up in the attic.
Yeah.
So, it's like I need to get them down.
Yeah.
I um, memorable. You took the most memorable recently, but anyway.
What was that?
uh, anyway.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was a gathering we had over at your friend's house
Yeah.
there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, a pivotal moment, and that's the thing, being able to capture moments like that for people.
That's the key. That's what they can't do it. Their family can't do it. It's a little box on the table, take pictures of everybody, and then give it all these little boxes, and they'll develop them. And still have them. I think put on the table and develop them, and for pictures. But to get somebody to go around and capture certain moments that knows what to look for and how to get that feeling, that's what the album's all about. Looking at it, getting emotional. And that's a big challenge because, like I said, the eye sees it one way. There's no better camera than the eye, and for you to get that, bingo. It's
Sure.
and like and you're waiting for that great big famous shot.
Well, I was listening to somebody one time, and we talk about actors. They wait for their big break. Like, I'm going to make
Right.
it big, and a store wants to have the fame, or a restaurant wants to have that big famous meal, or that one meal that everybody comes and gets. And really and truly, I've come to appreciate as a photographer, we are no different from an actor looking for that big break, because we get that one person that's they run their mouth to everybody, or they're famous, or they're popular in the community, and they hire you and you do a good job for them. Then you're found. You've made your big break.
Yeah.
In the business. And so
I always thought it was going to be in one of these inventions. I was growing up, and I'd be like, let me put a third wheel on a bicycle or something. And motorcycles have them now, three wheelers. So, but anyway, and my uncle would always tell me, hey, Chuck, all you need is one good invention.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I don't think I will, but
okay. Well, you probably got it. You just don't know it or can't produce. And that's the other thing, is like there's so many. It becomes a little bit of a difficult thing to get it out there. I mean, there are people there's a friend of mine up in Titusville. He's a good singer. He's a good songwriter, but he said, you know what? The only way to make it is really to have an agent, somebody who's connected, and it takes money to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody thinks you can just, if I just do it, and put it. Look at all the shark shows, and it's just TV.
Yeah. Well, but it does benefit them. Lots of times they get on the show, and it's like, hey, that if nothing else, it's a 10, 15, maybe a 5-minute commercial for them.
But what you see is they've done their due diligence, and they've spent their money, and when they see that, then they'll invest in them, and they'll say, okay.
But even though it's not successful, or if they don't get a deal, they've got that advertisement for those 5 minutes. So I don't know if have you ever caught them whenever they said, "Hey, are you here for a deal?" And I was like, "Of course they're here for a deal." And then one time they said, "Are you here for a deal or for the exposure?"
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people are there for the exposure. I mean, like this. I mean, I'm here for the exposure, and you're here for the exposure.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to get.
Hey, maybe we get a chicken Caesar salad from Grills.
Yeah. That's an inside joke, of course.
Yeah, that's how I pay Chuck. I was like, "Hey, buddy, I got no money. Let's go get something from Grills. Get anything off the appetizer menu you want,
yeah.
Or the kids menu. Anything off the kids menu. Yeah,
really. It's kids. Oh my goodness.
No.
Yeah, this is what we do all day long.
Yeah, so if nothing else, you can hire us for the entertainment value that we bring to your. Now, kind of going back to what you were saying about capturing those moments, is that, and it was something I caught recently watching a YouTube photographer. She was talking about how somebody had an experience where this family member kept jumping in. It was an uncle or something of the bride, and it's like the photographer, professional photographer, is like, you're the reason why I'm here is for you, Uncle Joe. I'm here to take pictures of you, not you getting in my way taking pictures. It's kind, to me, it's kind of like hiring a maid and cleaning up before she comes or he comes. It can be female, male. Yeah. But to me, whenever you're getting involved like that, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but you enjoy yourself, have a good time, and let me record that for you.
Yeah, well, a lot of people ask if they can help me. I'm helping hand. That's the logo.
There you go.
Can I help you? It'll be a little cheaper. I said, look, if you let me do the job, it's this much. If you help me, it's twice as much.
Because it's an apprentice program now. Yeah. So do you just in your business now? I was talking to an individual about getting a job, and not me getting a job, but taking a job. And they were like, well, what do you do? What's the next step? And I'm like, well, we're going to talk. I want to speak to you about what you need, then you get to feel for me. You may not like me. I don't know why you wouldn't like me, but I tell the client, prospective client, you may not jive with me. And so, but once we talk about that, then you give me a deposit. So, and that was kind of what this other person was talking about, getting a deposit. And it makes you, I'm not saying it makes you honest, it makes you committed to that. Do you ever have to do that, or is it mostly just for materials that you have to collect first? And
no, there's just the sales part is selling yourself. You have to talk with them and explain to them that you know what you're doing and what they don't expect. You don't understand what this creates. I answer questions, and when they see, well, they can honestly tell whether you know what you're doing or not. They probably pulled it up on YouTube and want to make sure you're doing it right.
Yeah, I think you told me about one situation. The person was following you around, and it was like, just let me go, let me do this. Yeah.
Back later, you see the model TVs, the shows, the DIYs, they have the reveal. You go here, stay out of the way. When we come back, we'll show you. Oh, look what we did.
Right. Yeah, I wish I could have done that for my house. so I wouldn't worry about what's going on.
I would. Right. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like with photography, it's a little different because there's a bit of more of a commitment. Now with you, it's really easy to walk off the job. I say literally, if you have an issue, you can say, hey, I'll see you later. But I think with the photography business, it works a little bit differently. You kind of got a commitment because your weekends or your available time is really limited. Whereas like you don't usually get 5 days or 7 days a week to do a wedding. Normally they on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So those are valuable time. So I think we will be going with at least a 10% deposit on stuff, $100 or at least 10%. So
You have to there. I mean, there's big jobs that I will take a down payment because at least for the materials, and something happens and they say get out, the materials are paid.
mm, yeah,
I don't worry about the rest, but I've
yeah,
not had any problems that way. They see they can trust you and you're honest, and you can give them a whole list of references. I
yeah.
can't. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's true. But hey, you can always build a portfolio for yourself. The other thing I was going to mention this as part of our things that we do along with the weddings, and I think you and I are going to do some more of this is the free engagement photo because to me that's like an audition. And a couple I was speaking to, actually one of the individuals of the couple, they're like, well, let me see some of your work. I said, well, most of my work is in film, so I don't have it anymore. And I'm predominantly a real estate, fine art, headshot style photographer right now. But we're transitioning into that. So to allay any fears, what we can do, I'll do an engagement style photo for you. The two of you in a natural setting, something you feel comfortable, and I can let you see what you will be getting. And to me, that's like a trial before you buy, like you do with a cake.
yeah,
So
tasting. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I don't see why not. I mean, I I wouldn't. I don't mind even videoing from above and showing them here's a clip,
hmm
but
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's just more experience. You
yeah.
enjoy what you're doing, so. But it also shows
Right.
them they've never seen one before, maybe.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that you sometimes you have to let them know what's out there, what's available. Because I think like you and I, when we were talking about a photo album, I just got approved to be I've got approved for an Italian album maker.
Okay.
So they take the orders here, but they are produced in Italy. And to me, a photo album was one of those books that you got as like a 3-ring binder, and it has the white pages. You pull back the plastic and you put
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what has become a photo albums? They're like books. Printing has become such an easy thing to do that you create a book, and part of that book is what I call B-roll.
Yeah.
It's not the bride and groom; it's the things around, and that's where like a drone would come in. I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In the beginning, and around outside, sometimes inside. You can fly inside. You know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Well, let me tell you, I got requested to fly my drone inside of a very nice place here in Titusville.
Yeah, I wanted to go.
And yeah, I walked in there and I'm looking around. I was like, man, this is a pretty nice place. And I'd have to be really careful. Then I walked into the main area and they have this big, beautiful chandelier. And I was like, is that thing always here? Because if you want me to fly, she's like, yeah, it's, and you want me to fly over some people or when there's people in here?
Yeah. Can't.
And she's like, yeah. And by the way, that chandelier came from Egypt. And I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. And whoever you get to do, I want to be here whenever it happens. Yes.
Try to fly around that. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, you know, the better I want to be experienced.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, uh, uh, Tom Cruise in the jet, or
Yeah.
something. Just,
Yeah.
want to get real good to be able to pull some of those things off. It's
Yeah.
going to be on the road. It's going to take a lot, practice and time. But I wanted, you haven't gone, we haven't gone. I want to go back up there and I used to work there. So I know what
Oh
you're
yeah.
talking. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's see that. Yeah. Let's see that. I don't mind plugging them. That's a beautiful place.
Yep.
The person who oversees all that, she's really nice. I got to come in at the end of their bridal show. I mean, they already had a couple photographers, and I get that. You don't want to inundate a place with all these of, you can because there are a million photographers. I mean, there are iPhone wedding photographers, And so she let me go up there, and whatever I did, and there's where I think that I try to support my local business with what I have, is that I took all these photos and I actually gave them to them. I edited them and I gave them those photos. And you know what? That's my little investment into them.
You have to, you know,
Yeah.
a number of times. You have to, you know, I've gone on jobs and, you know, it's a certain price and, you know, then they say, well, you know how to do this? Yeah, you know, I mean, if I get time at the end of the day, I'll do that for you.
I know both our wives are like, no, you're not supposed to be giving free work. It's not supposed to be free work.
I'm looking, I haven't seen anything come across yet.
Yeah. Oh, just wait. She's not going to do anything. I'm not going to edit it out if she comes in there and gives you the what for now. That is, like I said, drama sells videos and stuff like that. So
Wait a minute, here. I thought I heard it come.
You won't hear it. It'll just be shh.
It'll just go black. You know?
Yeah, it'll just go, okay, we'll see you later, Jack. Take care. But but so just for any business out there, the other part of what we want to do in supporting local businesses is what happens is like with bigger companies, they come in and say, this is what we do, this is what we do, this is what we do. I want to be able to go into a business and say, hey, I understand you're like me. We're small business. We you know, we can work this out. I'd rather have good relations with my community. And if there's something I can do, we will try and accommodate that for you. Now, I'm not saying I'm always going to be giving away free work, but you know, sometimes like the other day, I was doing this specific shoot. Customer had called me back from another job and they said, if it, you know, they didn't want the clouds in the shot because of the breakup. And so they were like, you know what, I'll pay you extra if you stick around past whenever that, you know how Florida is. For those of you who don't know, in Florida, you can have a cloud and then 5 minutes later, it'll be sunshiny and everything.
Just gotta wait.
So, yeah. So she said, I'll pay you to stick around. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I kind of felt like, well, you know, it's not going to be a big deal. And by the way, if it is an extended amount of time, I don't mind getting paid for it. So, but being willing to do that, because some companies, I've got my next shoot, and you don't have time to play around there. So,
but they're going to benefit. I mean, I think this is a good thing that you're doing for the community to be able to advertise, you know, or to have this interview. You're a good interviewer. I've seen them. I've seen the wedding interviews. It's the first one I've been in it, and I didn't like it. But anyway.
You don't like being on that side of the camera, do you? No. Well, get used to it, because I might pay for the extra StreamYard. We can take that stupid duck off. You know, I'm not saying stupid, but you know, we have three of us here, like your buddy there, Ken, who has three people on at the same time.
Right.
Showing videos. So.
Right. No, but you know, that's what YouTube is all about. They're out there. Everybody pulls them up, and they, you know, want to learn how to do something, but they want to also learn like this, like what you're doing for the community. You know, the business. They should call you. They should get the interview. You know, it's going to benefit their business. I'm getting out of this one.
Yeah.
This one.
Hard. Yeah.
Got a T-shirt. Been there, done that. I'm going to do drones. So
there you go. Hey, and that's the thing. That's why we work together. Because to me, that's what I advertise. I always advertise. If you go to my website, go to our website. Go to our website, and you'll see two photographers. You get two photographers. I know some companies are like, well, you'll get, you know, we'll charge you less if it's just one photographer. No, this is what you're going to get from Fototropix. You'll get two photographers.
Yeah.
That's just what you get. I
mean, they're going to have a better opportunity with you and shooting main points, me running around shooting the cat and dog, and you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, because you it's to me, I remember this one time I was reading something and it said you cannot, as a photographer, especially a wedding photographer, you can't say, people will come up to you and say, hey, you know what, this is just a small wedding. You don't have to worry about it. It doesn't have to be spectacular. Do you mind kind of knocking some off the price? And I'm like, most of our reaction might be, well, okay. But remember, whenever somebody looks at that photo, they're not going to know how much was paid for it. They're going to just look at that photo and say, this is a piece of junk photo, or it's low quality photo, or I could have got that with my iPhone photo kind of thing. And so the suggestion was, don't ever reduce your price and say that you're going to do less work. You need to always do good work. If you're willing to accept less or give less in return, that is smaller packages or something. That's not, but you always have to give good work. Now, you do the same thing, right, in your business?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't pay.
Right. Well, I mean, if somebody says, hey, could you knock $50 off of this and you don't have to worry about it looking nice, I don't think you have the ability to walk away from something half done. Dude. I dropped the word out of that. Okay. So yeah.
If they, it's, they tell you to do something. It's just not in you to do that. Just cut it and stick it up there, and I don't care if they match or they butt together the trim, big gap out, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, then go find somebody else, because I just don't do that.
Who can walk away from that? Yeah.
I don't.
That's true.
I can't sleep. It has to be good. I mean, why? If you're going to do it, as Dad said, if you're going to do it right.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I had a guy. He called me, and said, "Hey, I want you to do some photos for me for my rental." And after a while, he's like, "You really like doing this, don't you?" He's like, "I thought it was just going to be like half an hour and you'd be done." I was like, "Well, you wanted aerial shots of your dock, which is like half a mile away. You wanted shots of your house, and then you wanted twilight shots."
Right.
I'm going to take as many pictures as I can because I want to make sure you get what you want. And the funny thing is, I gave him some proofs from my drone work. He posted it and already had a tenant. I say tenant, or a renter, for a weekend out of the year. So I was like, yeah, see, I might look at them and not be too happy, but the point is, whatever you get is going to be of quality that you can use it in your business and be successful yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I do want to let you know, we do have somebody for next week. I don't know. It's a friend of mine. She's in Cocoa Village. So she's one of my favorite Cocoa Village people. the Cocoa Village people, what? She's the one with the construction hat. No. And Barbara Bumgardner. Now, she's a friend of another friend, and she's moved out of, let me see if I can I do what they do on YouTube? Here we go. This is her little emblem here, barefoot. Now, what she does is that she prints shirts and silk screens and stuff like that and stuff. So, hey, she may offer a special. I know she's getting excited because the weekend after her interview, Cocoa Village is having their art fair, which I'm normally in.
Right.
But this year, I'm not going to be able to be in the fall one. I'll be in the winter one. So
I'm usually right down there.
What's that?
I'm usually right down there with you.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You're right there with me. You got the T-shirt. You got that T-shirt, right?
You gave me a T-shirt, but I can't find time to get down there for some reason.
Oh boy, well, whenever there's drone involved, you can. I know you can. Yeah, I'm getting on it. But so she'll be here next week, Barbara, and I'm not sure, she may have some kind of special offer. Our special offers for this month is going to be 30 postable pics for $99. This will be the next one will be ongoing for some time, and that'll be free engagement shoots. So I call them photo auditions, because just like I said, photography is just like the acting talent. Is that
Yep.
you need a big break. So you'll be with me on there. So if you see Chuck with me, you know you've met him. He's great. He's awesome. You know, he's from Maine. He knows how to speak Mayonnaise. So so yeah, a little in the head there. But yeah, so that's the situation. Now, if you are watching and you're in the Space Coast and you want to have a little bit of publicity there, and I'll be glad to promote it. And just let me know. There's the phone number right there. You can text me. You can go to Fototropix.com. It's Fototropix. I'm waiting for Frono to get on my case because I do say that Fototropix, and he goes Frono. He's another photography guy that's on YouTube. You know, he's got a fro there, so kind of like him. His thing is I shoot raw. So
that's his thing.
Yeah, he's been in photography forever. He's a professional. He mostly does concerts and stuff like that. So you have a little familiarity with that, right? You've played right in front of a group of individuals.
Yeah, like the soundboard.
Yes,
but no, my wife would be the singing part of it.
She's a singer.
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, again, if you'd like to be involved, now this is a little bit looser than I normally would because I like to hear from other people. I've probably talked a little bit more than Chuck knew that I would because I don't usually talk this much. But this is about me this time. Yeah, Christy caught that little comment I made last week, or was it you? When the person says, you like the limelight, don't you, Dave? And I'm like, well, I got a YouTube channel, so that means I must like it. Just kind of on an outgoing note, is that's what kind of got me in the position where I'm at. Because in high school, you know me, very quiet. Believe it or not, I was very quiet.
You was, yeah. I mean, I'm not. I have my moments. My wife will tell you, antics, craziness that that I would go through, but they're not on YouTube.
Yeah. And you know what? If anybody has a question, comment, concern, or personal belief, you are welcome to put it in the comments because Chuck's going overtime. Normally, we wrap it up in about an hour, but because we're buddies, we can talk for hours, and y'all can watch us talk for hours.
They're all in bed now. They've shut us off, and they've gone.
Yeah, exactly. What are these guys? Why don't these guys just get a Zoom meeting and go do that instead? But what got me into photography? I asked you what got you into photography, but I didn't tell you what got me into photography. When I was in high school, I liked photography because Chuck and I used to go shooting stuff, and my neighbor, and it was just like I was always into photography. I was a photography nerd. And when I was at school, I was in the yearbook. I wanted to be in a yearbook class because I wanted to do photography, but my skill was in graphic design. So I was like the one nerdy guy in the class. I mean, I looked like Napoleon Dynamite, really. So much so that my brother later in life would take my picture to school and say, look, my brother is Napoleon Dynamite. And what I really wanted to do was photography, but I was in graphics. Oh, she's coming to get you now, huh? But what got me out of my quietness is whenever I would carry my camera at school, and people knew that I was on the yearbook, so they'd be like, "Hey, take my picture," and they do whatever they would do, crazy stuff, and in high school, and then it got to be where that was like my little ticket. It got me ticket out of shyness, and so. The sad fact is that the year that I got to be one of the photographers for the yearbook, it was because somebody else had left school, and it was a sad reason why I left school. So, so that's the reason why I like the camera. I feel more power behind the camera than I do in front of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that way.
Yeah, when I did with Pam singing, and we were at like Rehoboth Beach, we toured up there and the summer tour. And we were there for a week, and they put us up. I just wanted to be up there and capture everything I could, for the concert, and I don't do concert photography, but
Well, you did then.
my wife's in it. So.
See? See, that's the thing. I think you find your muse in whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, because there are people that come to Florida and we're like, they're taking pictures of stuff. They're seeing lizards and like, man, I want to take one of those home. I knew one guy. He came here. He came here and he caught a lizard and he was going to raise lizards because he had come from up north. And he thought that was just the craziest thing, is that there'd be wild lizards and why nobody is making money off of this. And so, like, yeah. Would you say you got to stop doing that?
You got to stop doing that.
So if you want to hear that more of that, I think Chuck has that lined up for some. I'm trying to get him into the YouTube thing there. So
he's working on it.
But the point is that people that come from other states that come to Florida and they see what we don't see because we become blind to it. I think it's kind of like that whenever you're driving to work and then you finally notice that there's a new Burger King. It's like, when did I get there?
When did that pop up?
Yeah, because you've become blind to it. So kind of going back to the photography, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy the attention from photography, but it was such they weren't about me. It was about my camera.
Mm-hmm.
So there is somebody that you might know. Mr. Gabe. Gabe?
Hey, Gabe.
Holla, Gabe.
It's my grandson.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? He's like the little genius, right? He's got
everything. Smart cookie.
Yeah.
That boy is a smart guy.
Hey, watching. Hey, you got a fan. Hey, that's the cool thing. Don't ever lose those fans. Those are the fans you want. Fans for life is children, grandchildren, family member.
Yeah, really. Somebody got to take care of me.
Yeah. Please don't put me in the bad home. So, hey, Gabe. Yeah, we won't post this picture, but I think he was over at the house the other day when I came by your place, wasn't
he? Hey,
yeah. When you got the chainsaw thing, you had the chainsaw incident, and it wasn't anybody getting their hand cut off or nothing like that. So,
no, you lost me there.
I think it was the day that I came over, and you were working in the backyard near the hurricane time, and I think there was a little one there whenever I came. I think it was Gabe.
Well, should we see it come up? Yes. Say yes.
Just say yes. No. Oh, she says no. That was another little person. Maybe she was.
Wife is watching this, and she is commenting.
She's directing. He said, "Don't say anything stupid."
Comments after this thing is over, and you see me again or not?
Gotcha. Okay.
Well,
so,
I think it was good. I think you're doing a good thing.
Well, I try to, and hopefully we can be a support for the community. I know it may seem like a little bit bootleg, but I think sometimes because we don't have the like professional business people, like in New York, you had professionals, and then I think if you have somebody in the community that's willing to work with you and kind of, I'm not saying skirt the rules, but just be willing to step out of the box and provide for local businesses. And that's what this is. It seems like a lot of yammering, but I would like to have some great businesses come on here and possibly tell us stuff that we wouldn't get to know otherwise.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, they're advertising their business. They're sending out flyers or mailers or whatever, but something like this to be able to, and you can, you come to this channel and you can watch every one that's going on, locally here in Melbourne. And see what they do and goodness sake, jot it down or um, he's Dave shows the card, and then introduce themselves and talk about their business. You get to find out about them without going to the store and talking to them, and later on you can yeah, I saw you on YouTube channel, and I'll go down and like I'm going to be interested in the next one because of the graphics and stuff. I got to get a drone shirt now. Not
there you go. And they're good. They've got some good design. I love that though. That's
drone flying into a coffee cup or something.
There you go with it. Like what was it? There was a bar. There was some kind of restaurant or bar or something over in Orlando that was what they're identified. They had a plane that had. I don't think it really crashed, but it was something that was
just stuck.
Yeah.
Any kind of a theme restaurant. You go in and you're sitting in a car booth, with the headlights and it's old fashioned seats and everything like that. Any theme because of what Florida, Disney World, all that stuff. That's things. Themes work. I mean, it's exciting. And what do? You have somebody take a picture of you.
Yeah. See, there you go. There you go. Well, and the other thing is when we talk about shopping local, used to we would shop local because we knew John Smith. He was the hardware guy. And
right.
You know what? We want him to succeed. I would rather my money go to that guy than me go over to town over. Not because I didn't like them, but it's like, you know what? Back in the day to go to church together.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I'd rather give my business to somebody I know. I think Dave's going to have it coming up soon. He does granite work, granite countertops. He's from Italy, his family, way back, and they do granite tops. And they may not be the cheapest around, but, they're good. They know how to do it. And I'm going to give his information to Dave. Dave's going to probably set him up and have one of these interviews. So
for sure. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I told everybody stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that because like I said, back in the day, you knew who your guy was or who your florist was, but today we're so separated. Even your neighbor, you don't know them. So I think this is kind of like an opportunity to get to know that local business on the level. It's like, this is the person, and, you walk in there and their prices might be a little bit higher, but you see the person, you're like, you know what? I don't mind paying a little bit more because I know this person cares about me. I know this person cares about the product. And so this is that, what is it? American Idol. You ever watch American Idol?
Yeah.
You don't know these people. But as soon as they start taking them to their home and videoing their home and like, their dad beat them when they were a kid and mom's got cancer. No, I'm just saying you get invested.
And then you start, I want that one to win. I want that one.
And it's the same thing here. Whenever if you as a business come on here, you can let people know that and they get invested in you and, then they will come to your shop and then they will pay the extra and they'll tip your employees because they know you're a good boss and your employees are going to be quality people too. So, but I appreciate the time. You went over time by 18 minutes and, as we move along, it might even, we can always make a 3 people interview, because we are going to be on the photography front there and stuff like that.
It's just going to cost you an extra salad. That's all.
Yeah, just an extra salad, chicken Caesar. I remember we went to that one place, and you're like, "Hey, let's go here." So I go there, and I always get a chicken Caesar salad, and I like bacon. I like bacon. I eat bacon by itself. And I asked the server. I said, "Hey, could I get some bacon on that?" She said, "Nope." I mean, I barely got bacon out of my mouth, and she's like, "Nope." And I looked around, and there were people eating breakfast.
And bacon.
And I was like,
"You can throw a piece of bacon on."
I mean, I'll pay for it. It's like that's. What's that?
It doesn't come with it. No.
I mean, I'll pay for it. Just oh my goodness, dude. My goodness, there's some things.
Yeah,
Yeah, tomorrow I just check out the shorts, not my shorts, but the shorts on my YouTube channel. We're going to be talking a little bit about sweet potatoes. You're gonna, if you want to know about sweet potatoes and things that will be on there for that.
I feed
But I
them.
do. Uh-huh.
I feed them to my dog.
Oh, yeah. See,
Sweet
oh,
potatoes.
yeah, he likes those, huh? So,
Health good for
yeah. What can you tell the difference between sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie?
it. I haven't asked him.
No,
I don't
you. Can you tell the difference?
know the difference. I don't. Pam's going to talk to me about that afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
I
There is a difference because one's made of potato, one's made of a pumpkin. But
can tell the difference.
yeah, so we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. It'll be a minute or less. It won't be like this, an hour and 20 minutes. But thank you so much, Chuck, for showing up. Thank you for those who are still around, those who have shown up. If you need some background noise tomorrow while you're cleaning the house, you're welcome to turn on the Dave and Chuck show here, or Chuck and Dave show. Chuck and Dave. Why don't we do it in initial order, like DC show?
Dave DC show.
Yeah, that happens to also be my initials, Dave Christopher DC.
Oh, I see.
DNC show.
I thought I was in there, but no.
Yeah, you are. David Chuck, the drone dudes. You buy them, we fly them.
Yeah, you buy them with lime. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, again, thank y'all so much. Thank you. And, if you want to stick around in the green room, you can do that as well. But even though I'm a photographer, Chuck's a photographer, I am going to encourage you to challenge yourself every day to be a better photographer. And don't say stop doing that, because I know you want to say it. But challenge yourself every day to be a better photographer. Check us out on our YouTube channel, our regular YouTube channel. We got shorts, long form, a lot of education. We got a 30-day challenge you're welcome to be involved in, and I would love to see your photos. So if you could like this, welcome to subscribe anytime. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great day, and challenge yourself to be a better photographer every day. See y'all later.